Hiya and welcome to this Yin Yoga class. I'm Emma. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Yin Yoga and then we'll move into the theme of this specific class and then we'll move into the practice itself. So if you have already practiced Yin Yoga with me before or with somebody else and are familiar, feel free to skip over this introduction and get yourself ready to practice. But for those of you that have maybe not practiced Yin before or don't really know too much about it, I'm just going to outline the style of Yin Yoga, what you might expect in this type of practice, and some of the benefits. So it differs from other styles of yoga in that many of them tend to be quite dynamic and the muscles are quite active. What we're trying to do in Yin is allow the muscles to be as passive as possible. So the practice tends to be predominantly floor-based. We're moving into long held poses. The idea is that we are slow, soft and stationary, and that can feel quite countercultural for a lot of people. We are in these poses, we're using a lot of props. So the more props the better in Yin, it is not cheating. We're doing that to support the body in these poses so that the muscles can be passive. And the whole reason for doing that is to allow the muscles to be as passive as possible to target these deeper tissues within the body. So we're looking at targeting connective tissues, ligaments, fascia, and there tends to be quite a lot of, or there can be quite a lot of stuckness in these deeper tissues, and often from habitual patterns of movement. And once we've got these adhesions or sticky areas within the body, it can affect a whole sheet of fascia within the body. So what we're trying to do is support the body with props, move into these deeper tissues, and it has this regenerative effect on the body. With each shape, each pose that we're moving into, we might be in these poses for say 3 to 5 minutes. So they are long held poses. We're moving into them really slowly. So we're trying to practice this mindfulness as you move into the poses, tracking each sensation. You're aiming to get into the shape and find your edge. So we're not trying to have any pinching or tugging, or there should be not any sharp sensations in each of these poses, but we are trying to find an edge. And that'll differ. So it's you being aware of your body and how that feels for you. When you're in the pose, we're trying to find this stillness. So we're moving slowly in, we're finding stillness, and then we're very, very slowly moving out. Again, kind of tracking each movement, each little sensation as we move our body out of these shapes into the fourth and final stage, which is called the rebound. And these tend to be these neutral shapes. And if we've created, say, compression or stretch in certain poses, once we start to line these neutral poses, you might be aware of the blood moving back into certain parts of the body or tingling here and there. And we're just trying to have awareness of what that feels like in the body. So as you'll have gathered, there's this physical element and then there's this more mindful element, just becoming much more familiar with this kind of felt sense within the body. And then the third and final part is this energetic quality. So Yin applies some insight from traditional Chinese medicine with this insight of meridians within the body. So these energy pathways running in the body. And when we're in certain poses, we're applying pressure to certain points in the body. So if you're aware of acupressure points, a certain shape may be applying pressure to an acupressure point. And often a class can be built around targeting a whole energy line, and applying different poses and shapes to apply pressure at certain points on that line of energy. What we'll do as we move into a shape is I'll say we're targeting a certain area, so you know where you're looking to find the stretch or compression within your body, and then allowing everything else to be quite passive. So to allow that, we use the props. So like I said, the more props the better. I'm going to show you yoga props, but you can use anything within the house as an alternative. So I've got this yoga block, but you can use that, use a stack of books instead. It's nice to have a softer cushion like this, as well as something firmer. So I've got a couple of bolsters here. So these are yeah, a bit more firmer than the other different sizes. So you may have yoga bolsters, but you could also use like sofa cushions. Then it's good to have a blanket, if not only just for the end of the practice when we're in rest, to have something to put over you, but it's quite nice to use that as a prop at certain points. And then for extra lushness, it's quite nice to have an eye pillow, again for Shavasana at the end. It can be quite restful to have something over the eyes, but again, you don't need a proper eye pillow. You can just use a flannel over the eyes. And that, I think, is it. I hope you enjoy the practice and fall in love with the magic of yin. Feel free to ask questions, but for now, just get ready to practice. Enjoy.